Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Ekamac. This is Let's Play Oxygen Not Included. In the last episode, we've continued to make our way through slowly establishing a foothold on the asteroid Stinklin. Yeah, it's not a very appetizing place to live, but we need to get our proper base started here. That's not optional. We need to get at oil. All this oil biome down here that's really super hot. And unfortunately we can't get any on this asteroid. Even if we did somehow manage to get slicksters over here, and somehow have slickster traps so we can move them because they aren't very... You can't wrangle them straight out, you've got to use the critter drop-off trick. There wouldn't really be anywhere for them to safely live, except perhaps if I set up a system that puts them right next to this superheated cool steam area. So it's a lot better to have a system of we route the water needed for oil extraction down to here, and then we route the oil back through it here, back to the main base. All that said, these guys are now giving it a nice boost to its power, so we can probably start crafting some cobalt. We've almost reached cycle 90, so the Carnivore achievement is starting to get a bit close. But I can tell right away that as long as we get the meat that we need, we should be set there. Now the question is, do we have enough meat? Because Nisbet, some of these people aren't getting full meals, but rather than swap them over to eat whatever you can get, I'd rather leave their bellies empty until there's actual meat for them to eat. The unfortunateness of having bristleberries in such a place that the shine bugs can get at them. Speaking of shine bugs, wasn't there... Yes, there's a shine nymph here. Alright. Something else I should probably do is not top priority, just priority 4. I want to start turning all this into proper tiles. We can leave this here because this mealwood... Actually, the mealwood is messing up the decor. Mealwood doesn't look nice. But then just look at it. It looks like it's covered in bugs. Oh yeah, we have a glossy Dreklet egg. We could leave that to hatch naturally. We could. But we could also speed it up, and speed it up in an energy efficient way. So let's have a think about it. We don't have an incubator. We don't have enough copper to make an incubator because all the copper's being used up here. Well, at least Catalyst is working on getting the batteries back up and running. One slight catch about this biome is actually that reed fibers aren't that common. I think if this is a starting biome you still won't get any reed fibers, and I see Paku Filet. We're about to do something risky for this base, which is why I'm saving now. I'm going to build sedimentary ladder all the way up here. Now, theoretically, it should all flood out this area down here, but actually that's a lot of polluted water. I think I want to hollow this out a bit more. The downside is that this connects to an absolutely frigid biome, so we're probably going to see a lot of gulpfish down here. And all that gulpfish is probably going to recycle the polluted water slowly into normal water, because that's an interesting thing that gulpfish can do. There's a downside to that though. Because gulpfish have naturally very low temperatures, they have a tendency to freeze themselves in blocks of ice, because the water comes out at their temperature, and they slowly absorb the temperature around them. So if you have gulpfish in an area that's too hot for them, they'll very quickly overheat and die from the temperature. But if you're in an area that's too cold for them, then they just get frozen in blocks of ice and can't do anything more. So you've got to very carefully manage the temperature of their little pond. And even then you're going to have problems of them just getting bricked up for a few seconds at a time every time they emit polluted water as ice. But I feel like the natural only just barely 1 degree Celsius over here should keep them safe. So we'll just leave that to its own devices. So there's a thing that we're eventually going to have to do. We might want to do it sooner rather than later, but just know it's going to drain a lot of power to do it. We're going to need to start shipping coal out of this ranch. Now you might need a reminder that all these hatches are producing coal at a 50% rate of whatever they eat. That doesn't sound like much, but you have to remember they eat a ton of coal each cycle. So each cycle we get about a bit more than 1,000 kilograms of coal. And this hatch ranch has been running for quite some time. How much coal do we have? Not just in the hatch ranch, let's be fair, but we have 108.6 tons of top coal. It would probably be better for the system if we were to install a third conveyor. It's just that I'm not sure whether I can install it here safely. Yep, this is the problem with these little pips. If they see an open farm tile, then they will immediately try to plant something in it. Which is very kind of them, but that's not what I wanted to plant. Oh yes, we have renewable energy technology. So then, here's the thing. We can't actually make most of these because they use materials that we don't have. So the sauna. We need wood to make the sauna. Use steam to create a relaxing atmosphere. Increase duplicant morale. So yeah, this is something that I've never actually gotten confident enough in my base building to create. Oh well. Power. Oh, wait a minute. There's not something I'm forgetting, is there? Right, you can also make steam engines, but again, we haven't even gotten to space. We don't have any way to make a steam engine. So yeah, power. The solar panel uses glass, but it has a 380 watt power source. That doesn't sound like too much. That's actually a bit less than a manual generator. And you have to remember that it varies across the time of the day, because at night the surface actually blacks out completely. It's more of it caps out at 380 watts at a time. But here's the advantage of the solar panel. It radiates absolutely no heat whatsoever, unlike anything else which is going to have an eventual power crunch. Or rather, it's going to have problems with heat if you don't have a sensible way to get rid of heat. The solar panel doesn't have that at all. And thank goodness for that, because they have to work in a vacuum. But the point is that provided you've got them in a safe place, the solar panels do give you a way to just get free power, provided you have the glass to utilize them. But the important point that we want from here, the steam turbine, draws in steam from tiles directly below the machine's foundations, uses it to generate electrical power. It outputs water. You need a liquid output pipe, and you can only build it if you have electrical engineering. It caps out at 850 watts, and it does have a very high heat generation, but it's got a gargantuan overheat temperature. And keep in mind, actually, let's go back into this again. Draws in steam, outputs water. Steam at its very lowest is about 100 degrees Celsius? Just under that. But it's always going to output water. Steam turbines, and because they use plastic is why we absolutely had to get our hands on a glossy Drecklet. Steam turbines are used for a very important thing, heat deletion. Once you get steam turbines running correctly, they can be used to get rid of heat in your base, and that's very, very, very important. So, what sort of science should we get into now? Honestly, we've been sitting on incomplete medicine track for so long, we might as well get into that. We shouldn't have any new skills yet. It's still going to be Ellie. Another point of interest I remember about the other biome. I seem to remember that there's one for cooking. So there's going to be a pre-placed electric grill and a pre-placed microbe masher in it. Which is nice. It saves having to carve out another area. Okay, question. How much polluted water should be here? About 24 kilos. How much room do we have? We have enough. Okay, time to start digging our way up to get this pacu fillet. We can't get all the pacu fillet, but we can at least try to get some of it. And we have pharmacology now. Honestly, probably one place that's just easy to slap it in place. Right next to the Materials Research tab. This is used for refining medicines. It functions well like the rock crusher or the textile loom or the exosuit forge. You simply type in how many you want of a thing and then a duplicate with medicine skill will come make the thing. What can we get? We never know when we're going to run out of gold amalgam. Yeah, there's still some left in the slimy biome that we haven't dug up, but still get a little bit nervous. Oh, one other thing. When I said mature plug slugs, I meant it. Baby plug slugs can't actually climb walls, so they just sleep on the floor and they don't have the power bonus. Unfortunate, but also important to know, which is why I brought it up. I have this massive polluted water lake over here. Maybe I should try and funnel some of the paku over to there. Well, at least this carbon skimmer is working. The slime there is still incredibly toxic. We don't want anything to do with it yet. Hello! Wait a minute. There's absolutely no radiation here. Why is there an unknown thimbleweed seed here? Okay, let's cut out of that route and go straight to getting our hands on the botanical analyzer. You can take up plumbing. So, do we have anyone that's close enough to getting that research? Well, the requisite 5 days have passed. So it's time to... Okay, very nice little detail. You can tell at a glance who is on what asteroid, because they have the little icon and the name there. So if you want to have certain shifts filled with... Basically it helps you tell, okay, I'm not overstocked on that asteroid. I'm not overstocked on a specific shift, it's simply that the people that all have that shift are on different asteroids. We're gonna dig up that paku sooner or later. We really do need someone else over here to help out. At the moment we've just got a skeleton crew for construction work. Alright, it's time to hope that we don't end up flooding the base. I've actually heard that there's a bit of a pathing bug with paku. If you mix elements in their tank. Yep, I was afraid of that. Okay, Liam, your job is now tidying. We need to get this situation dealt with ASAP. give it time to settle and it'll be fine, but we don't have time for it to settle because it's drowning the bulk buckets. Actually, we might want to move him over one square, because we also need to give the one on the right a bit of time to breathe. Okay, it wasn't a major emergency, things were handled fairly well. And hopefully at some point these guys will learn that, hey, there's a much bigger pool down there for you. Oh, right, this toilet is out of order. Ellie, are you okay? Yeah. This'll be fun. So, back to base. Oh, right. I was going to send Ellie through the teleporter so she could, learn at the printing pod, but... Do we have anyone with a focus in operating? Yes, Ellie. I guess she's just overworked, so... Camille can also get into the operating business. The thing is, I don't expect all these people to use exosuits when I put them in the exosuit training. It's just a highly productive choice for me because it gives them athletics, so they spend less time running about. Now here's a thing that I've never shown I probably never showed the point of creating. The kiln. I'm sure someone will build it later, so I can go over what that does then. Right. We need to actually put... Ellie needs to focus on life support because the outhouse is in desperate need of focus. We don't have functional toilets of our own yet. Oh dear. Your job is to go back and run past that. And we also have a job to install a medicine bank here. And disinfect all that. Yeah, there's so few germs on this ladder, it's probably unnoticeable. I just feel better getting rid of them completely. Oh! Obsidian. Alright. Obsidian is actually even harder than Abyssalite, believe it or not. It's part of what keeps the uncovered volcanoes and geysers and vents buried up, so you can't get into those until you've at least got someone with 3 skill points. Oh look, someone with at least 3 skill points. I do get a little bit nervous about having this area just completely open and refrigerated, but as it is, there's probably worse things to worry about in the game. Yeah, this is the rabbit hole that is oxygen not included. I look over here, I think, I should build an incubator. Wait a minute, I don't have enough refined metal for an incubator. I need to get this rock crusher working. Wait, I don't have enough people working on operating. Right, I should make sure that someone else picks up the operating job. And so on and so forth. I want Atmos suits, but I need the refined metal, and I don't have more refined metal. I have a metal refinery up here, but I need to preserve the heat until I have a proper way of dealing with it with the steam turbine. To make the steam turbine, I need plastic. To make plastic, I need the glossy Drecklet egg, and to get the glossy Drecklet faster, I want an incubator. I guess in the time that we have left we can talk about the oil biome. We can't see the entire thing from here, but the most important point is that it is naturally very hot and we want it to stay that way. It's home to a few interesting little animals. The jumping joya over here is a natural decorative plant that grows in the oil biome. It has a very high temperature range, and they have nice decor values. Another thing that lives here, slicksters. They consume carbon dioxide, and actually quite a lot of carbon dioxide, and they produce crude oil from it. But you can't ranch them directly. You either have to use the critter drop-off trick, or to use a critter trap. The multiple variants of slicksters is based on their temperature. If it's incredibly hot, then they slowly grow into molten lava, which have the same diet, but they produce petroleum instead. That is very, very handy. We'll get into why later. However, if things get too cold for them, they lay long-hair lava eggs, which have a lower temperature range, and they don't actually produce anything that you can use. The advantage of long-hair slicksters is that they produce a lot more meat than regular slicksters, but the counterpoint to that is that they also take longer to die out naturally. And as you can see, they keep ducking into this little they keep pathing into this sunken oil area and getting glum because of it. It's a bit annoying. It's why I try not to dig too close to the oil biome so I can see what they're getting up to, because it just makes you anxious and upset. Anyway, our goal is to get an exosuit system set in place, dig away down here, block it off with gold amalgam doors, and then try and excavate the areas so the slicksters can have happier lives down here. The gold amalgam doors are to keep the temperature from flowing into the oil biome, because as you can see, everywhere else is extremely cold. And we want to hang on to those slicksters until we have the way to properly ranch them. There is... okay, materials. You can get iron ore, you can get igneous rock, you can get naturally occurring lead, so you don't have to worry about hanging on to it because it's precious anymore. And you get fossil. A fossil has one very interesting use. Take it to a rock crusher, destroy it, it produces lime. Which is used for steel, which means that it's actually rather good for your steel production to extract as much lime as possible. We also have diamond, and diamond has a lot of useful things. For a start, it has a 100% decor bonus. very handy. It does have an overheat temperature, but it's considered miscellaneous, so it's hard to find things that it can properly be built into for that overheat bonus. But the most important thing about diamond, aside from the fact that it's very hard to dig, diamond is very good for temp shift plates. Specifically, it's good for making temperatures shift around a lot faster, so you want to hang on to that. The other thing that diamond has a practical use for is the drill cone. You need diamond to run the drill cone, so yeah, it's useful for making materials that were otherwise unrenewable into renewable resources. So it sounds like the oil biome is really great, it's just a really hot place. Here's the one big threat about it. Zombie spores. This is the natural place where spore kids live, so you've got to be careful about how you dig into the place, otherwise the zombie spores are very, very enduring creatures. If they get into solids and liquids or gases, then they die out. The problem is that they survive in a lot of different elements. And spore kids, they pump out just so much. They just produce so many zombie spore germs that they just get around purely on numbers. Anyway, with that glimpse at the oil biome done, episode's timed out. So, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.